Okay, gonna try this again. I already tried to film this thing like 3 times and I got interrupted. But okay, so here's what's on my mind. Gambling. Gonna talk about gambling. Gonna talk about the definition of gambling and then some of the good things and the bad things that I see in the world today. Regarding that, I am a poker player. I do play poker. Really like it. Sometimes I like it and sometimes I really hate it. Usually I hate it when I'm losing. But overall, I've definitely won considerably more than I have lost. But there is losing involved, and there's a bit of a philosophy that parallels life as far as what is a successful gambler and what is an unsuccessful gambler. And I wanted to offer you the definition of gambling, and what is it? It's basically making a guess or an assumption or an agreement with another regarding the future outcome of an event which is uncertain. Okay, so if you really think about that, there's something that's going to happen. You're not sure what's the result necessarily. You're not totally confident of what the result will be. And you make an agreement with another that if result A occurs, then blah. Then you will do something, and then, or if the other event happens, or if the other result happens, then he will do something. Okay, that's basically gambling, where, for example, the roll of a dice, or randomizing cards and all that kind of stuff. So there is an element of certainty and uncertainty in any material action. So let's say you're going to start at point A and you're going to start at point B. Although your intention is certain, spiritually or mentally or in the mind, you're certain that you intend to go to the grocery store. From your house is point A, grocery store is point B. The intention is very clear and is very certain. You would not necessarily gamble with yourself on, or you couldn't really, you would know that what you intended is very certain. That's actually probably the only certainty that there is in the mind. A person could be said to be insane when he's no longer certain about that which he intends. Okay? And a person could probably be considered sane to the degree that he is truthful about what his natural intention is. But the outcome in the physical world is uncertain. So one may intend to go to the grocery store, which would be point B. However, this may not happen as planned. One may intend to be there in 15 minutes and might actually take 20. Or, for example. So there is a degree of uncertainty in almost any action. But in regular life, what we don't consider to be gambling, although there is risk involved, is when the proportion of certainty or the proportion of likelihood that an event will likely occur versus the likelihood that it may not occur is greater than 50%. So when people can agree on the assumed outcome of something more than 50%, basically, it's not considered gambling. It's considered living. Okay? But when the outcome of a specific event has a greater uncertainty than it does have a certainty, and really this is in the minds of men, right? Then it is considered gambling. And so what happens is that gambling is basically mainly uncertainty, whereas a real life event would be mainly a certainty. A professional gambler, which is rare, is a person who can pull a mainly certainty, or take a degree of certainty and put it into his advantage in an area where others have uncertainty. And that could be considered a professional gambler. That would be a person who, over time, over an extended amount of samples of a particular event, if repeated over and over, he could show a sustainability. Okay? So it's gambling parallels life, and that's why it's a good thing. Now, it's also a bad thing because it's not a substitute for life. It's not actually productive, and but yet it parallels life. And so I want to talk about that. For example, what does a poker player give, and what does a poker player take? Right? Well, he's probably trying to take to the degree that a poker player is trying to give, something like happy feelings, good vibes, wisdom, teaching, something back to society. Those ones could be considered to be professional poker players. But the concept that you just want to take, and essentially just provide for yourself, and in exchange you're not actually giving back really enough or a satisfactory amount to the people that you're playing with. And so you become a parasite on the society. And casinos are actually quite this way. Casinos become a parasite on the gambler itself. And that's why you'll see the casinos trying to give back value in order to be sustainable. You'll see them offering people, buffets and foods and dinners and entertainment with the hope of balancing out their inequity that they've created by taking the money from the gamblers. And they feel the need to give back, right? So is gambling sustainable? No, I would say it's not. So people trying to do it as a way of life, I would highly recommend you do not do this. But as a form of entertainment and recreation, I think it's a much easier thing to do occasionally. And the reason why is because it's very difficult to balance out what you take with what you give. And in a regular business, like if you buy and sell cars. Damn, this guy's got this crazy car here. If you buy and sell cars, it's easy. You sell a car, they pay you for the car. That's it. You're done. Cycle's done. And like in life, though that's considered acceptable because of the amount of degree of certainty that is with that transaction. Society tends to build itself on certainties and not on uncertainties. For example, when you want to build a bridge, okay, or in engineering, you build the bridge based on the certainty of some coefficient of a particular metal of expansion and contraction. If that's wrong, the bridge can fall down. So you need a certainty. There is an element of certainty that is offered in sciences, and actually that's what empirical knowledge really is. It's an attempt at a certainty. And once you take 49% of the uncertainty away, or 51% of the uncertainty away, you're moving into the realm of empirical data that can be used to organize and to be applied to control the physical world. Okay, so in gambling, there are some few people who can gain a particular insight over their opponents and to gain a certainty where their opponents have an uncertainty. And this would be the advantaged player, not a cheater. This is not cheating. This is skill, but this is where the skill can come in, is where you can gain a certainty in an uncertain outcome of a game, okay? And I want to offer you this definition of gambling because most 99% of players believe that they may have a certainty where, based on they can predict the outcome of the game. Some players believe that luck itself will give them an advantage where they can have a certainty on the outcome of the game, although that's probably delusional. So most people have some sense of delusion based on the outcome of probably real life and gambling. But only the real insight is when you can have a true certainty for yourself, and that you could you could have an advantage over players who actually have an uncertainty in the game. So if you know, so if you study gambling, you should study it with that in mind. Thank you.